Hello, people. It's Rose from the Painted Toad, and tonight is Paint with Me. And tonight we're going to be painting a jar of fireflies. If you need the tracer, you can sign up for it on my website. It's www.paintedtoad.com. I'll put it in the comments. And if you sign up for Paint with Me, I send you all the tracers so that you can have those. But without further ado, let's get started. And I'm going to switch down here to my camera. There we are. So you can see here. And let me just, you know what, I should have done this ahead of time, but I'm going to pull up my picture as well, just so I have my reference photo. I should have this ready to go. Sorry about that. It's been kind of a crazy, busy couple of days. Ah, yes. Okay, this is going to be a fun one. All right, so first things first, let's start in on the background. And I think we're going to have some fun with the background. You need a flat brush. And let's go ahead and let me close out some of my windows here. We're going to use, I think I want to kind of do some cool stuff in the background. So I'm going to use some, I've got some dark cobalt violet. Use my new spinner here. I love it. It's working awesome. I still have to look a little bit to find the paints, but it's working. So I'm going to do some dark cobalt violet, or, you know, any shade of purple would work, or even a dark blue. Actually, I think a blue would look nice as well. Let's do, I've got dark ultramarine. I'm going to do some phthalo blue. Finally figured out how to say that. This is phthalocyanine blue, which is just a fancy way of saying dark blue. Oh, maybe this one is all done. Hold on. Oh, I got a little bit out, but I think this is the last time I will be able to get paint out of there. Okay. If you're joining me, say hi. Let me know you're here. I can't really see who's watching, but if you make a comment, then I'll know it's you, and I can give you a greeting of hello. Okay, so I've got some of this dark cobalt violet, some of this phthalocyanine blue, and we are going to start in on the background, and I'm just going to have some fun here and kind of, well, let's just kind of see what I can come up with. We're going to do some of the purple and blue. Let's kind of mix it here. You know what else? I think I want this to be super dark in the background, so I'm also going to put a little black on my palette. So let me get a little black as well. And as I'm working in the black here, you know what? If you go in with black too soon, then it's going to turn everything dark. So let's do this. I did a little bit of black there. It's not too bad. Let's stick with the blue and the purple just to get the main part kind of filled in here. This is a small painting, so there's not a ton. If you notice, I'm just kind of going everywhere. Just kind of doing a messy background here. We don't need. We are going to make a nice tabletop here surface. So I'm just going to bring this flat brush straight across. There we go. Got plenty of paint on there already. And if you're super particular about perfect straight line, you can see me, the perfectionist, trying to come across here again. You can always, we're going to do another color down here, so you can always go back over that and add, you know, a neater line. If you want to get the ruler out, you can, but honestly, if you just use the flat brush, the background line is really not going to show up much. So I don't usually stress about that being perfect, because it's the last thing people look at in the painting. They're going to be looking at whatever their subject matter is. So I'm going to come in here and just throw some black in here just to kind of darken this up. This is kind of a fun, messy, textured background. So I don't often do, I've been doing a lot of smooth backgrounds, so this will be kind of a fun one. A little bit different texture. Got the purple in there. Let's get a little more purple down here too. All right, and I think you can see the thickness on there too. I'm leaving it kind of thick. So I like that look. I like the thickness back there. Okay. Now, for the bottom half, let's see here. Let me rinse this out. I'm so excited. You know what? Let me switch back. I'm going to show you. I found this. It is my new rinsing mug, so I'm kind of excited about it. I wanted something that was a little bit pottery looking. You know, I still got it from Meijer, so it's not technically made by like a local potter. I'd love to find one made by a local potter, but this is going to work a lot better than my little glass jar. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you because I'm so excited. I'm using it. I've got all my organization stuff now. I've got my brushes organized, I've got my paints organized, and it just makes things so much easier when you have everything organized. So I'm going to come into the phthalo blue here, and I'm going to paint. I'm going to keep this a little more smooth. So we have some difference between the texture in the background and the texture up front. So we've got some smooth texture to contrast with this messy texture back here. So contrast is always a good thing to make your paintings look different or interesting. So we've got the smooth against, now this is still really dark, but I'm going to lighten this up. I'm going to run a little bit of white in here, and we're going to see how it looks. I'm going to pull that across. See how I said that that line is not going to matter so much? Okay. So, and then the other thing too, depending on how thick or thin your paint is, like I like to take my brush and stroke it back and forth, just so I don't have any brush strokes ending here. You get a much smoother look. Now, I'm going to take my brush, I added a little bit of white to it, and I'm going to just kind of bring this in, and I want to just lighten this up just a tad so that I can get it to stand out from the background a little bit more. So we're going to brighten this up. You could mix the white and the blue to get a bit of a brighter tint. Like you could do it on your palette. I just like to do it right here on the canvas, because then you get some interesting variety of color here. You can see light areas, dark areas. If you want to go back into the blue and add a little more blue, you can. If you want to go back into the white and add a little more white, you can. But what it does when you mix it on here, it gives you more of a variety. And I think I like that. I think that's looking good. What do you think? So we have the very messy background and then a very smooth surface here. So this is where the surface of the jar is going to go. Okay, I am going to run my blow dryer because this paint is very thick, and if I start to try to go over it with my brush, it's going to pick up the background paint, and I don't really want to do that with the jar itself. So I'm going to pull out the blow dryer. So this is still a little wet on this side, but I'm going to be going on this side. So if you're doing this and you need a template, I said at the beginning, you can sign up for my newsletter and I will send you this template. It's just the Paint With Me through my website. I'll put it in the comments. But for the purposes of tonight, I'm just going to paint it on here. So if you're brave and you want to just paint it on there like I'm about to do, you can do that. I'm going to use some white paint here, and I am going to create the shape of the jar. So if this intimidates you, then by all means, go ahead and, message me. If you put jar in the comments, I can send you the link to sign up to get the jar. So I'm just going to paint right on here. I'm not too worried about getting this perfect here. I'm using like a round brush. This is small. What size is this? Does it tell me? It's a size 5. Royal Telcon size 5. I think Royal Langnickel or something like that is the name. Now, here is the key to get this to look jar-like. A lot of people just draw a straight line across, but anything that's round, if you look at it, when you're looking at the shape, it does not have a straight line. It actually curves like this. So that is the trick to get a round object to look like it's sitting on a table. Because look closely. If you have a glass or a jar next to you, look at it. it'll look like there's a curve. Same with the top of our jar here. So this is kind of just a little mason jar, I guess. We'll bring this up here. And I'm gonna curve, just add a little curve maybe at the top here. Not doing too many details in here yet because we want this to be a clear glass jar. So we're just kind of getting the shape out. And then at the very top, it's an oval at the top, so it curves the other way. So the oval is the opening of the jar, just like that. So that's jar 101. That's how you paint a jar or draw a jar. Anything round, you can do something like that. Okay, so now that I've got that, let's see here. I'm going to have some fireflies in that jar, and we want to add a little bit of, we want to add some dimensions, some reflections. Reflections are really important if this is a glass jar. So a lot of times you'll be able to see the bottom of the jar, right? If it's glass, you can see the other side. So I'm going to add another curve. See that oval at the bottom? Very similar to the oval at the top. And then I'm just going to swirl this around in here a little bit here. And you don't have to make this perfect. And we'll just keep this real simple. I'm just going to take the brush, kind of create some shiny spots on our jar here. And just painting these in like this. You can do thick and thin. Notice I'm not making this perfect. This is some areas where the jar you might have a little reflection. Notice up here I'm kind of curving this, so that's, you know, a curvy part. Over here is curved the other way because that's the shape of the jar. So you want to find the shape of the jar. I want to leave a little bit of room in this jar to add my fireflies because we're going to have fireflies in this one. So we want to add some fireflies. Or you could add little fairies or something like that in there. That might be fun. I'm just going to add some lines where the ridges of this jar is. Maybe add some more lines on this side. There we go. Okay, so far, I think that looks pretty cool. Does that look like a jar? There's these little shiny spots here. It looks real. Maybe add a little couple coming up here. Just a little curve there. I'm just kind of throwing the paint on there. Notice I'm not too worried about it being thick either. Okay, so you don't need to worry about thick paint. Keeping it kind of thin like this, a little bit wispy. I'm letting the brush dry out a little. That also can create a glass effect. Okay, so now we're going to go and add, this is still a little wet here, but I want to add some fireflies. So I'm going to do, we're just going to have some fun here. I think, let me rinse this off. We're going to stay with the round brush. And we want to create some fun round colors here. I have this lemon yellow, and I think this would probably look really good. Or maybe I have this really light green. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can create with these two colors. I'm going to put a little lemon yellow. We're going to play around with it, see what it can come up with. Oh, it would help. This is brand new. I haven't used this paint yet, so I'm going to pull this off. If you don't have lemon yellow, you can always just take regular yellow, add a little white to it, and you can get a lemony color that way. This is almost, it's kind of neon. It's almost a little bit neon. This would actually be a fun painting if you did, if you had some glow-in-the-dark paint. Glow-in-the-dark paint would be kind of fun to do with this, because then, you know, oop, that green is open. When you put it up, you can see glow-in-the-dark. So I got a little bit of the yellow, a little bit of the green here. And I also have my white, so that's going to come in handy as well. I'm going to keep the round brush. So let's try a couple different things here. First, I'm just going to try the round brush and see if I can get just some round circles here. Like we have lots of little little fireflies going around. So this yellow is pretty thin, but actually that might kind of look cool. So let's create, if your paint's thin like mine, I'm going to create round circles like this. Okay, so it's okay if the background is showing through a little bit. I think that'll actually work in our favor to get this to look kind of neat. I'm going to take a little white on here too. Let me add a little white in there just to brighten it up a tad. So I'm just going to do some random circles. Do some small and some big, because some of these little fireflies might be close, but some of them might be, you know, way in the background. So they might not show up as much. Okay. Okay, what I want to do, I did also do some green. So I'm gonna see how the green looks, if I like it or not. I'm gonna maybe take a little green and white here. And let me see, is this one, that one looks a little wet still. Let me try to get one. Let's do a little double here. So it almost looks like we have a little out of focus. So it's got the little haze, like the camera isn't quite in focus. It gives it a little bit of haziness. I'll do one over here too. Just kind of brighten this up here. So all I'm doing is I'm taking my, this is the green and white, or you can continue to do the yellow and white. You could do a little green and a little yellow. And I'm creating a second circle on some of these, so it looks like the camera's like a little bit out of focus for our painting. And so there's kind of like a little hazy ring where it hasn't quite focused in on the firefly itself. And then these little guys down here, I feel like these ones in the jar, maybe we would see a little bit of the firefly. So I'm going to take some of the black. I'm not going to worry too much about making it super duper detailed, but we will we'll put a little bit of a body on some of these fireflies. So you might have like a little, just a little bug body here. Just kind of stick it there. Maybe throw some little legs on it. So there's one little bug. Maybe just a little body here. Throw some wings on there. I'm not going to do super detailed there. We just want to know that there are little bugs in there. This little guy's got his wings tucked. Just kind of bring it around like that. There we go. So I've got a couple in the jar. Okay. I think it's looking pretty cool. What else do we need to add? This is kind of a quick, easy, simple one. Let's see. You know, we could add a little bit of a shadow under the jar, or maybe a little bit of a reflection. We could do a shadow or a reflection. What do you think? How about we just add a little shadow on there? So I'm going to take some of my black. I'm just going to do this real quickly with my round brush that I'm already using. I rinsed it off. I've got some black and dark blue, and I'm going to just create a small shadow under here. Just kind of pull it along. So it's just the dark blue with a bit of black in it, and just kind of pull it into the background. And right over here, I'm curving it just a tad because the jar is curved, so it'll be a little bit curved. And there we've got a little bit of a shadow. Add some blue back in there. Okay. And I think that's it. This one is just, it's not super duper hard. It's just a super simple one. I hope that you have a great rest of your day, and I want to remind you to be creative, be artistic, and get connected with me at the Painted Toad. And thanks for tuning in. See you later.